as you can see, we've been traveling most of this morning. We got up at about 8 o'clock, and we drove from our place in Florence, and as you can see the stunning view behind me, we are currently in Cinque Terre. All right, so Cinque Terre is a community, a seaside community that was actually, earliest settlements were started during the early Bronze Age. And according to our guide, he said that actually the Romans showed up on the opposite side of this mountain to try and take over that area, and so the Cinque Terreans, they actually went to the opposite side and hid from them. Now the Romans are going to end up claiming this area during the 1st century AD, and however though, the 1st century before Christ. However, they didn't really have a use for Cinque Terre because, as you can see, there's no natural harbor, right? There's not it's so steep. Remember when we talked about the geography of Italy and how literally the mountains go straight down into the coastline? You can see it directly behind me. But as you can see down below, there's a lot of little villages right along the coastline. And the Cinque Terreans have been living here for thousands of years, right? It is absolutely gorgeous, and as you can see, we're looking right out onto the Mediterranean Sea, the cradle of Western civilization itself, the birthplace of it all. I'm going to take some extra pictures. I'll show you all those in a little bit, all right? Also, today might be a really good food blog day. So down here, standing directly next to the Mediterranean Sea, I'm actually literally like right on a cliff that's, as you can see, down in the Cinque Terre Marina. And if you look behind me, there's the rest of this, one of the villages anyway. So we're gonna be going to Verrazzano next, and I gotta show y'all some cool other ways about how, like, remember when I said the Romans didn't really have much of a reason to develop Cinque Terre because there was no natural harbors and there wasn't a lot of space for agriculture and things like that? Well, I'm going to show you in a little bit how the Cinque Terreans actually farm and how they actually do their thing, and it's terracing. It's really, really neat. So remember how I was trying to tell you how these guys in Cinque Terre farm? Well, it's this thing called terracing, right? It's where they actually use tractors and heavy equipment, as you can see behind me, to cut notches into the mountain itself, and then they flatten those notches out and then they plant on top of them. It's actually really, really genius, and the mountains are covered in them. And as you can see, it goes all the way up the sides of the mountains behind me. I'm going to get some other really, really good pictures of it so you can see it a little bit better, but it's actually genius. And the stuff behind me that you see, the yellow vines right up there, those are grapevines. They also grow rosemary, olives, limes, lemons, and citrus fruit here as well. Super, super neat. If I can get a picture of these trolleys they use to like ride up the mountain to grab everything and bring it down, I'll do that as well. But yeah, so that's how Cinque Terreans farm, right? Terracing. Very, very cool stuff. Hey guys, now we're in Vernazzo, which is a smaller town of Cinque Terre, right? And we, as you can see, are still on the coast of the Mediterranean. It's a gorgeous little town square that I'm in right now. All the boats are behind me. I've also made a new friend. Hello. He doesn't want to get up. All right, so anyway, but also we're fixing to go get a little something to eat, right? So we're heading into this restaurant right over here, and it's called Il Capitano, right? And the word on the street from our tour guide is that it's extremely good. So let's go find out, right? I've had a lot of great food so far, so I don't know if it's gonna be able to beat it.
How was this food?
Taylor has got it. Taylor has the contact.
I could bathe in this
I
gnocchi.
knew I was going
Best part about being in Italy is when everybody doesn't eat their food and then I get to have it instead. What you doing?
Sweet wine thing. That would just go with the salad.
What you doing? Maria,
Hi. Oh,
what you doing?
I'm in a trance. Getting gelato.
You're getting what again?
Gelato.
trying to keep down.
I love gelato so much. All right, guys, so this is our last stop for the day. We're currently now at, as you can see behind me, the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Now, this tower is actually a bell tower for the cathedral that you see behind me. Now, the cathedral was actually finished building in about 1170, and they began construction on the tower itself. Now, if you look closely at the tower, it's built kind of like a wedding cake, right? In several layers and in several stacks. Now, one of the reason why the tower itself began to lean in the first place has to do a lot with Pisa in general. So the Romans actually settled Pisa primarily because of its port status. It was a decent place to harbor ships. Now, but with a port status means there's lots of heavy amounts of water. It means the soil is not very hard, right? So it's going to be a lot more soft. So it actually began to lean when they were about 3/4 of the way done with it. Not even 3/4 of the way done with it, about 1/4 of the way done with it. And ironically, as it began to tilt, it was tilting at about 5 degrees, and as time has gone on, it's began to tilt even more as they've tried to fix the tilt itself. The worst that happened when they discovered that there was actually an aquifer underneath it, which is a huge amount of fresh water that's actually hidden up underneath the tower itself. So when they were during the early 1900s, when they were trying to build it back up again, they discovered this huge amount of water, so they fixed it to the best they could, and it's officially stopped leaning, and it's now sitting at about 3.5 to 5 degrees. So it's honestly kind of just one of those things that everybody has to come and see, and everybody does the obligatory holding it up thing, right? It is what it is. Definitely a big Florence fan and a Cinque Terre fan myself. But it's been a crazy long day. We're going to be signing off. I'll see you all a little bit tomorrow for day 3, all right?